It's a great, great day. It's a good day. Get up.
Woo! Uh-huh. Loving those dance moves over there, Sean. That's good.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Welcome back, risers and thrivers. Happy Monday, everyone. We're so excited to have you here with us. And first, just a really special shout out to all of those mamas and who celebrated Mother's Day yesterday. What a celebration it was. And it was a super special one in my books because that marked my 10th bonus Mother's Day from hearing the words that I had 2 months to live back in the day in 2012. And so how lucky am I to be able to celebrate that gift of Mother's Day yesterday with those little humans who I love most in the world and with my mom. My mom is this amazing mom. And because of her, you know, I am this strong woman because I was raised by a strong mother. And I'm so thankful. And it's all very fitting because today we are talking about parenting and the challenges of parenting and the perks of parenting and everything that comes in tow with parenting. Gosh, I'm a huge believer that parenting is just the biggest gift in the world. You know, we can become, we see our world through the eyes of these, excuse me, through the wonderful eyes of these children again. And we are forever young, and it's such an opportunity to do so. But until it also comes into with, you know, hardships of the guilt that comes with it, the self-judgment and all these things that come into it. So today, risers and thrivers, I am so happy to have this incredible guest with us today. Sean Donahue is here with us, and he is known globally as the family coach. He's the founder of parentingmodernteens.com. He loves to help make parenting easier and more enjoyable for us. Right? So Sean speaks to millions of parents every year through thousands of events and social media and leads a life-changing community called the Parents Club. Thousands of young people have benefited from his teen-tween coaching experience where students receive high-level EQ coaching and tools to become more responsible, more mature, and more successful adults. He has taken social media by storm. He's a social media phenomenon, and this is how I came across him because I am so inspired by his amazing videos with these insightful tips and tools and all of this. So Sean, gosh,
what's up?
Welcome to the show.
How's it going, Erica? Thank you so much for having me, and for all you people, all you wonderful moms and dads listening. Thanks for having me.
Woo! We're so happy you are here because we're looking for some guidance and some support.
I'm looking to talk with you. I just I listened to your TED Talk to get ready for this. I listened to a couple of episodes. So I'm pumped to be here. Let's pour ourselves some nice coffee and talk parenting and relationships and hardships and emotions and gratitude and all this crazy stuff that comes up with parenting.
Fabulous. Let's dive deep. And today, perfect, right? I've got my faith, hope, and love cup.
I like that.
Our tea together.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah. I actually just filmed I'm starting a podcast, and I actually had a little session where I actually ended one of my episodes with that saying right there, because those are beautiful words, and we all need those words in our life.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump right in. Let's talk about those hard emotions of parenting and, you know, that self-judgment and the guilt that we often impose on ourselves and that constant wondering, right? Are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the best job for our kids?
So emotional, right? I mean, I like to tell people, for most of us, parenting is the most emotional thing that you and I will ever do. It's even more emotional than love and romance because there's such a shift in power. You know, we give birth to them. Some of you, they came out of your bodies, or you adopted them. You provide, you caretake, you teach, and we're so emotionally connected to them. And that should be true, right? I mean, we love them. We should be. If we're not emotionally connected to our kids, like, well, I mean, you got some problems there. You got to do some work here. What's going on with you? And that's what it's just so challenging, all these emotions, whether it be on a Mother's Day, which I was realizing has got to be one of the most emotional days of the entire year. It's emotional for my wife. It was really emotional for me. And that's just one out of 365 freaking days, right? With these kids.
Right. And so what are the tools that you can give to parents when they are really questioning their actions and their overall, sense of direction that they're guiding their kids with?
Yeah.
How do you
Okay.
help guide those parents?
Okay. Yeah. Is it okay if I tell kind of my thoughts and opinions, and I ask you what you think?
Oh, yeah.
Is that cool? Let's do a little dialogue. How old are your, my kids are 17, 12, and 5. Been married to my wife, Danielle, for 18 years. So Erica, how old are how old are your kids?
I've got 2 beautiful boys. My youngest just turned 12.
12. All right.
Oldest is soon to be 15 years old.
All right. 15. So you got a teenager and a tween. You got a lot of power. You got power struggles. You got masculinity. You got screens. What do you got going on in your home?
All of the above. And plus we face the challenges of, divorce and separating into 2 different households, which is also a big challenge. My youngest is also a type 1 diabetic.
Okay.
Right? And so then navigating the hardships of having a chronic health diagnosis. And everyday ebbs and flows at what we battle.
There's no such thing as a perfect family. Everybody has got our trials, our tribulations. We bring our own baggage into parenting, our own problems, our own traumas. Oh my gosh. And then we have our kids, and we don't want to mess them up. We want to help them. We want to guide them. We want to love them. We want to teach them. Yeah. And that's something that I kind of nerd out a lot about. I think of parents, I think probably our number one role, from at least my opinion, I don't have it, all figured out, is we are parents. As parents, we are teachers, right? We are always going to be their primary teachers. We're not always going to be their protectors. We're not always going to be their this or their that, but we want to teach them things they're never going to learn in school. They're going to learn a lot of good things in school, but most of the most important lessons in life, they're never going to learn in school. Well, who are they going to learn them? Who are they going to learn high-level emotional intelligence, how to set boundaries with somebody, how to cope with stress, how to thrive with the screen, how to be in a healthy relationship, how to stand up for yourself in a respectful way, how to be an active listener, how to show empathy. Where are they going to learn this stuff? They're not going to learn it in school. They don't have a curriculum for that. So for better or worse, we are teachers, and we want to teach them wisdom and goodness and all those goodies, don't we?
Of course. 100%. Yeah. Every day is such a gift to get to do so, right? Even with my 10 years of bonus days, I think today it's 3,562, right? Of bonus days where I get to help guide my kids and get to help teach them these fundamental lessons of life and how to rise to these challenges, right? And we're all just trying to do our best. And
we really are. And that's what you and I are here for, right? We're in this, we're in a grind. We have our own problems. I'm like a professional parent coach. I've been helping parents raise kids for over 20 years. And I don't have it all figured out. I got my own problems. I got my own struggles. And a wise woman once said to me on a TED Talk I once heard is talking about gratitude. We get to sit in traffic. That's
100%.
We get to choose the lens we see the world through. That's you. That's what you said in your TED Talk.
I love that you're quoting me. That's hilarious.
Well, you knew I was quoting you, right? I don't know if anybody. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Well, I always say that. And for me, that perspective, that's interesting you brought that up, because for me, so take it back a little bit. When I was first diagnosed with cancer, I didn't know how to explain those big words to my kids who were so tiny. They were just 2 and 4 at the time. Right. And so I had explained I had leukemia, right? And so it was a blood cancer, and I lacked the ability to have any white blood cells. And so in my mind, when I explained it to them, I said, mommy just lacks these fighters to fight colds and bugs. Because I knew they wouldn't know what cancer meant, but I knew that I would crumble if I used that word cancer.
Right.
I didn't want to do so for them. And so that's kind of how I explained it to them. And I said, I needed to go to the hospital where they have the know-how to make my fighters stronger. Okay. And so then when I was leaving for the hospital, my oldest, who's always been this bubbling ray of sunshine everywhere he goes, shouted out, "Go fighters, go mama." And instantly that became what I call my personal power statement. Okay. Right? Go fighters, go mama. It was so full of promise and hope and positivity and empowerment, right? Yeah. And it always brought my mindset right back to where I wanted to be, right?
Okay.
My North Star, like what I was always fighting for.
Yeah.
Now that I'm well, when you just kind of commented on that, we all
Right.
get to be here today. Even in the context of parenting, we can all get caught up in the stress of the everyday ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, when I find myself becoming elevated like that, instantly, I think through this process of awareness, because I've said it so many times, I shift to this go fighters, go mama mindset and this personal power statement that I call it. And instantly, Sean, it brings me back down
Oh,
to
for
this.
sure.
I get to be here today.
You
No
know
matter
what?
no matter how chaotic this is right now, I get to be here to help them to navigate
Love it.
through
Love
this.
it. Love it.
And
Yeah.
it's just an instant shift in that perspective. And it's so helpful, I find. But
you know what? Here's a quick story. So we do a lot of really intense mindset coaching with tweens, teens, and young adults. We have all these activities and awesome things we developed over the years. And one of the activities, and I've never talked about this on a podcast. Anytime I do a podcast, I want to like talk about something new that I've never talked about before. Our team of coaches or me will ask the young person, do you think there's any happy, joyful, content men and women in prison? And then we just pause and we see what the person is thinking. And almost 100% of young people say no. And then we ask them, well, why? And then they tell us the reasons why, and ask them, have you seen any documentaries about prison and things like that? Then I tell them this quick story. I tell them a little bit longer than I'll tell you. I used to live right by the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, and I was playing a pickup basketball game. This older man comes up to me and said, hey, I coach a baseball team at San Quentin Prison in California, where the inmates have an all-star baseball team. They're called the San Quentin Pirates. And we play outside men's teams who come in to play the inmates. And it's so good for the men, the inmates. It's good for everyone. It's just really helping them to grow, to learn, to feel connected, to feel human. And I've been looking for somebody to start a basketball team. And do you want to start the first ever San Quentin Prison men's basketball team? And long story short, I said, yeah. So I'm a 25-year-old man now on this lower blacktop in a prison, which kind of looks like a middle school playground. And I'm picking out of these 40 guys who tried out for the team, the first ever San Quentin men's basketball team. And then I developed all these other teams to come play the inmates. And these inmates have mostly been in there for violent crimes or murders or very drug-related stuff. I did this for 12 years before I passed it on to somebody else. It's actually a pretty cool story. That actually CNN has picked it up, ESPN, Wall Street Journal. They even actually made a movie about a documentary based on this basketball program, which is so cool. It's like I started something and they made a movie out of it. And I learned so much. Incredible
experience for you.
Oh my gosh, it was 12 years. I learned so much about people hanging out and playing basketball with prison inmates. And one of the things I learned is the power of the mind, of how we can rise above our circumstances. I will say to people, have you ever met somebody who looks you in the eye and said, I hate cancer, it sucks, but I'm honestly glad I have it. I'm just so thankful I have this. I've been through this horrible situation. And looking back now, I think I'm glad. Is that crazy talk? Why would they talk like, why would they? Well, because the mind is so powerful and you can find joy and contentment and beauty and hope, faith, and love in our horrible circumstances, right? So if the men in San Quentin can do it, can your 14-year-old who's going through a hard time on Snapchat do it? Yes, they can, right?
Yeah.
We all do it? And you kind of did that, and you're kind of like a beacon of teacher, like, hey, I did this, and let me teach you how to do it and put some people on my podcast who kind of encourage you to do the same, right?
That's the whole mission. That's why we're here. You got it. With amazing, inspirational people like yourself, you've got it. And so take us through some of those tools of how we can really empower the minds of our
okay. So here's what
in those hard times, right?
Here's what I've been thinking about. I've been talking about this a lot with my clients and in the Parents Club, and even a little bit on my TikTok community. I feel like I've worked really hard for 20 years to accumulate a lot of tools in my parenting toolbox. Like if you saw, we all have these in parenting toolboxes, but they're all invisible. Like if you saw me at the local market, you would never know I've dedicated 20 years of my life to learning about, parenting, the psychology of parenting, positive parenting, and tools. And I've learned that some tools are better than others. And I've learned that parenting tools are kind of like a chainsaw and a gun. These are chainsaws and a gun is very powerful. Like if you've ever used a chainsaw, it's super scary, right? Like it's so scary. Like whenever I use a chainsaw, I'm like afraid I'm going to freaking cut my leg off. It's like really scary. I prefer not to use a chainsaw when I trim around my trees and stuff because it's so emotional. And so to be great with a chainsaw or a gun, something really violent, you need the same tools almost like as first responders do, cops, ambulance. You could have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to manage the emotions of this, those tools mean nothing. So whenever I really go deep with people, talk parenting, and this is kind of what I do with most of my clients, is I really invite them to really look at all the emotions in parenting. Because we want to manage our emotions, we don't want them to manage us. And before you can thrive with these awesome, healthy parenting tools, because we all want to be better than our parents, we've got to really look at ourselves. What is happening to me? What is this kid doing to me? Right? What is happening? I don't act this way anywhere else. Right? What is happening? And we need to learn to study ourselves in a really deep, profound way. Because when we really know ourselves, we can really manage our emotions in a really healthy way. Well, then we're putting ourselves in success to be the best parents we can and use some healthy parenting tools. So what do you think about that?
I think it's phenomenal. I think it's phenomenal and much needed, right? So what are some of the tools that you tell the parents to help manage their emotions?
Okay, well, so all right. So let me see if I'm going to answer this in a fresh way. All right. So oftentimes when people come to me in private sessions, like we're actually a little bit late to this podcast because I was just dealing with a really hurting mom. Can you imagine if you have this beautiful, 7th grade boy and he's just happy and healthy and well-rounded. And then all of a sudden he starts dating a 7th grade girl and you start seeing some changes and some this and then that. And you start sneaking and looking at his phone. And you see some shady stuff. So you look some more and you see shadier stuff. And then your son starts losing weight and he stops changing this and changing friends. Like, wouldn't that be so painful? Right?
It is.
Right? That's a day in the life of parenting right there. That's a day in the life. Oh my gosh. So she's so scared and emotional. I would be too, right? This is everyday stuff. People don't talk about that stuff. So, okay. The question was, what are some of these tools? So what I've found is that most of us, people our age, our actually own emotional intelligence is actually pretty low. Our generation. But what's amazing about our generation is that we actually know what emotional intelligence is. We know what empathy is. We know what active listening is. We know what connection is. We're like a new generation of parents, people that are listening to this podcast, because we don't want to be like our parents.
That's right.
We love them, whatever, but we want to be better than them. Right? We don't want to be those parents that just scare your kids, punish them, or hit them with a sandal or a chancla to get obedience. And we want to be authoritative, which means we want to respect, we want obedience and good choices, but we also want to be close and connected. Right? Don't you agree? Generally speaking, that's how your listeners probably would agree with that. You with me?
100%. And that balance is what we're all seeking, right? In between. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the tools would be to really get in touch with the emotions that are actually happening inside of you. Most parents, their EQ vocabulary is pretty low, especially men. So you ask them, okay, when you think about your buttons, what buttons get pushed for you in parenting? Take a guess, Erica. Let's just say, what do you think a typical American man is going to say?
Probably vulnerability, weakness. Yeah.
So most men say frustrated, angry, disrespected, and they say, I don't really know. I don't know what I feel.
Disrespected would be a really big one. Yeah.
And so those, in my opinion, those words are fine words, but there's so many more words to express, to feel, and to communicate to our kids. How about some of these words? Have you I'm gonna read a list of words to you, Erica, and you tell me, do any of these words pop off the page for you? All right.
Sure.
Abandoned, rejected, alone, lonely, anxious, nervous, belittled, dumb, betrayed, controlled, deceived, lied to, defective, disappointment, disconnected, disrespected, failure, helpless, powerless, hopeless, humiliated, embarrassed, ignored, unheard, inferior, invalidated, judged, intimacy, misportrayed, misunderstood, not good enough, bored, shamed, guilty, ashamed, taken advantage of, treated unfairly, unimportant, worried, unknown, unloved, unwanted, violated, attacked, worthless. Those are some words right there, huh?
Powerful.
Any of those words connect
all,
with you?
all likely associated, right, with our own past trauma that have nothing to do with our kids and our own past experiences.
Right. So nobody likes feeling any of those words, but what I found is what I help my clients do is, and I'm helping you listening to this podcast, is kind of pinpoint what are like your top 5 buttons in parenting, right? And it's actually kind of really freeing and empowering. It's not like rocket science. You got to memorize the whole list. It's probably just like 2 or 3 words. Like you don't need to answer this if you don't want to. Like in your parenting experience with these 2 boys you have, do any of those words pop off the stage for you? Like you hate feeling those emotions.
So for me, I guess frustrated, maybe.
Okay, so frustrated is not a word on the list, and it's really not.
Right.
I'm actually not a very good word. So if someone says to me, I feel angry and frustrated, I say, well, what do you really feel? Usually those are kind of more like, especially anger is actually more of it's a symptom of a deeper issue. Anger is normally like a secondary emotion if it's more of like a reaction. Like if I were to say to you, I feel angry, you might be like, about what? But if I were to say to you, I'm feeling really unheard and betrayed, well, then now you know why I'm angry.
So I guess in terms of that analogy, I guess unheard is a big one.
Okay.
Guilt.
So you hate feeling guilt and unheard in parenting.
And guilt is my own, what I
Yeah.
bring. I bring that from the illness that I went through and having to subject my kids to all of that and losing their innocence right at such a young age. And I still carry that today. Although I try to work through that in my own personal growth tools, but that was a lot, right? To put on kids at such a young age. And I always felt like I ripped away their innocence. Now, the other side, that's my heart piece, but the other piece also knows very well that, the resilience that they've gained from that and going through these adversities in childhood really helps propel them on this incredible path for adulthood. But I still battle in my survival every day. And I know that lingers in there, right? And so that weighs on me that I just wish I could lift that weight from
that makes sense. Yeah, well said.
Yeah, that guilt is a big one that I still carry. No matter how much personal development and growth, I'm still trying to unfold and peel the onions off. And,
yeah, you're a human being. You feel things, and that's a very normal, valid thing to feel. Guilt, mom guilt, and you've been through a lot. And so, thanks for sharing that.
Also guilt with divorce in terms of taking that family unit of 4 away from my children. That was always so important to me, that family. Sounds like we're getting some background noise, not sure. Anyhow, taking that family unit away was always another piece of that guilt factor that I would and that I still go through today. That I still, and I still challenge myself on that. So So one feeling that I've been feeling recently, because my oldest daughter is almost 18 and my 12-year-old's almost 13. I've found that I've been feeling this emotion called unwanted recently. And it's a new feeling and I hate it and it hurts. But because I have this mindfulness of like understanding what's happening inside of me, then I can actually make good choices out of that. I cannot do reactive parenting. I can do really mindful parenting. And I can do something. Here's a second tool. This is very, very profound. And it's like literally like magic potion. In fact, this is the first time I've ever shared this on a podcast, because I only really share this in my kind of communities. I help parents to effectively share their feelings with their kids and then invite their children and emotion coach their children to actually respond and care for their parents' feelings, to build trust and win-wins and mutual care. And to build EQ, emotional intelligence, definitely. And that just
For
helps
sure.
them be able to identify and express their own feelings so that,
Yeah,
yes, we are raising a generation of more open.
we sure are.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what y'all's childhood was like, but I can't remember like a time my parents ever shared their feelings with me. And there's no way my parents would ever say anything like, so, would you be open to showing us some, Sean, Molly, Megan, would you be open to showing me some care or some comfort or some empathy? And I could go on and on about this for a long, long time, but let me just cut to the very end. If we could, in a super healthy, normal, non-manipulated, loving way, invite a 10-year-old boy to show kindness and care, reconciliation, trust with his own dad at age 10, what is that going to mean for his life?
Phenomenal impact. Yeah.
Right? So who's going to teach a 10-year-old boy about the psychology of trust, how to build it, how to break it, how to repair it, what it is, how it relates to whether they empty the dishwasher after being asked the first time, and how they come to the dinner if they're playing a video game on time. Who is going to teach our kids about the beauty and the power of trust?
So true. It's all us.
It's us, parents or teachers, for better or worse.
And
So you asked
90%
me for some
of the time
tools.
through
So
modeling.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
90% of the time through modeling, right?
So much modeling. Yes. Big fan of modeling. More is caught than taught. But I'm also, also a fan of like intentional teaching, right? Because kids like 18 and under, they're sponges. Like the type of material that we teach, even the most like defiant or resistant teenagers can learn the material intellectually very quickly, versus the parents actually takes them longer to learn. Isn't that interesting? So I teach this great tool. It's called a heart talk. I'm giving you little bits of it today. One of the points of having effective heart talks with your kids is to do something which is super normal, which is share your feelings with your kids. And I've learned that some words are better than others. So here's a little freebie right here. I've learned that in a heart talk, you never want to talk, especially for someone like 12 and under. You only talk for about 10 seconds at a time. You talk for more than 10 seconds, you're giving a lecture, you're done. They're rolling your eyes. Healthy communication should be like a ping pong game.
I see.
One, I speak, and then you are the active listener.
Yeah.
And one of the most effective ways you can solve any parenting problem to build trust and win-wins and closeness is to speak from your heart, not from your head. But who is going to teach a 30-year-old mom or a 50-year-old dad how to speak from their heart? Who's going to teach them? Did they learn it from their parents?
Absolutely not. But I think the family coach is here for that.
Well, this is what you're doing too. I mean, this is what you're doing too. You're inviting people to like look under the surface. What's happening inside of me?
It's all about that idea of self-awareness, right? That idea of self-awareness and fostering that awareness in our kids too. And I really love how you phrase that. Would you be willing to show me the care and comfort and empathy with whatever I'm going through right now? I like how you phrase that as a question, versus an expectation too, that I think a lot of us hope for would be an expectation. But phrasing it as a question, I find it gives the children so much respect to then make choice. Yeah.
Yes, it's very empowering. It's like it's like you're not forcing them to say an apology. You're not forcing them to show you comfort and empathy. That's just straight weird, right?
Yes.
You can't, I need you to show me empathy right now.
Right?
I need you to validate my feelings. Like that's bonkers.
Yeah.
But instead, remember that it might be about emptying the dishwasher, but in parenting, it's never actually about what it's about. If your children doesn't empty the dishwasher on time, because that's their daily chore, well, then we can do reactive parenting. We get our buttons pushed, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the option of doing reactive parenting, which is stupid stuff like lectures, pep talks, scolding, shaming, punishments.
It never works.
Avoiding, people pleasing. Oh my gosh, it's obnoxious.
Yeah.
Or we could do something which is super amazing and cool and helpful. We could do a heart talk and say, hey, I'll give you a little sample right now. You want to pretend to be one of your sons and we'll do a little role playing?
Okay. First, I have a question.
Yeah.
So 10 seconds for under 12. And what's my max for over 12?
20 seconds with,
20
I think with
seconds.
adults, I mean, I'm like a professional communicator. And if you talk for more than 30 seconds to me, like if you're my wife or my friend, I'm going to get bored and I'm going to start zoning out. And
Yeah.
I'm like a freaking adult.
Yeah.
We don't teach communication, but this is what I believe. Like in 20 years, our curriculum that we teach is going to be in every public school in America. It won't be like mine. Like I won't say parenting modern teens, but I really believe that in 20 years, all these super, super smart, scholarly superintendents, politicians are going to be like, look, we teach kids a lot of stupid stuff they don't even need. Let's get
Yeah.
rid of this stupid stuff and put in actual stuff that our kids need, like how to get a job, how to keep a job, what is discipline, what is consequences, how to have healthy romantic relationships, how to set boundaries, right? How to get in touch with your feelings, how to care for someone else's feelings. Can you imagine how your life, your relationships, your marriage, your parenting would be different if, as we were middle schoolers and high schoolers, we were getting some emotion coaching and some nurturing from these alpha males and alpha females and type A, type B teachers, whatever, right? Can you
Right.
imagine how much
Even
pain?
just being able to label those basic emotions, right? And
Labeling.
identify the emotions that we're experiencing in that moment and
Yes.
accepting those emotions, right? So I had taken my oldest through this exercise because I was finding he was getting really flustered about different things really easily, right? Going through puberty and different things. So I was like, what are you feeling right now? Like, just talk to me about it,
Yeah.
you know? And he was like, I don't know, mommy, I don't know, you know? And
Right.
so then we really just went online and found lists of resources of emotions, you know, and we kind of identified them and separated them out into these quadrant boxes
Awesome.
of, high energy positive emotions,
Yep.
low energy positive emotions, high energy negative emotions, low energy negative emotions, right?
Love
And we
it.
kind of identified, at least even in the quadrant box, where he felt in those moments. And then
Yes.
over time, he was more able to identify the actual emotion that he was experiencing and talk about it. And
Great teaching, Mom. Wow. I wish I had you as my mom when I was young doing that for me. That is a awesome story. Sorry to cut you off. Please continue.
That's okay, but you can almost just tell in your kids, right, when they have so much in their heart that they might not have the words or the vocabulary or the
No.
as to communicate
No,
what
they
it
don't.
is.
They're human beings. Yeah.
And so as soon as he had that safe space, and I said,
Right.
there's no wrong feeling on here, you know,
Yeah.
like
Right. There isn't. Yeah.
what we're feeling in those times, like we might be feeling extreme anger or
Yeah.
sadness in this moment, but
Yes.
10 minutes from now or tomorrow we might not be experiencing that. So it's really important just for us to own that feeling in that moment and create that safe space within our own selves
Oh
to
my gosh.
feel that and express it in
Right.
these ways. But
Oh my
anyhow,
gosh.
it still is difficult with teens, though, I find. And so for
Yes, it
me,
is.
with patience was difficult. And I find I read a book a long time ago. Maybe you can
Okay.
help out on this and provide some insight. So I think it was called
Okay.
The Ways of Boys. And it
Okay.
talks about how through these teen years, because of all of these neurological connections that are firing and are forming all
Yeah.
at once with puberty and all of these huge changes that are going on,
Uh-huh.
that they actually revert
Yeah.
in their ability to focus,
Yeah.
in their ability to concentrate. And at
Yeah.
first it seems like you're unheard, you know, that feeling that you're going through and feeling
Yep.
unheard. Remember we talked about unloading the dishwasher 4 times over, you know, do you mind taking
Yeah.
out the dog? Like,
Right.
and then it's just never done, right?
Right.
And so you find
Yeah.
yourself repeating yourself so much, and that can get frustrating, like we
Sure
were talking
can.
about, when you feel these moments of being unheard. But then for me, it always kind of helps to come back to the fact that neurologically, I really do think these teens are going through so much, and they actually
are.
physically can't compute sometimes. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's all fried,
It's
you know, it's all too much going on.
teenagers are going to act like teenagers that they're supposed to act. They're not perfect. They're going to be messy and hormonal, and they need parents. They need support. Yeah. So yeah,
And
please.
shifting from that position of judgment to
Right.
compassion, but it
Yeah.
all still stems from that point of awareness and
Mhm.
self-awareness
Yes.
in everything that we're talking about here.
Well said. 3-part response to what you said. Okay.
Yep.
And I'll just say it. And if you have anything, I'll do one, then I'll let you counter. So yes, I'm holding up a piece of paper right now. It's something we give to all our clients in the Parents Club and individuals. It's just a feeling word sheet. Can you imagine how our society would be different if we give these to kids? One of my friends, her name's Becca. She works as a kindergarten teacher in a low-income neighborhood. And listen to this story. Every day, she starts off the day with this like time of like EQ time and connection. And she invites these kindergartners. I have one. They're so cute. I love kindergartners. They can't read. They're learning how to read, to come up and to point at a picture of a happy face, sad face, or a color, and then tell the whole class how they feel. I mean, isn't that just an incredible life-changing story? Like, I wish every school would do that.
Right.
Labeling, helping them. And they're learning about empathy. They're learning about gratitude, what kids are going through. Some of these kids are, going through crazy, horrible stuff. So your story made me think of that.
No, that's powerful. And I think there are windows of change like that we're seeing now. Could you imagine that happening when we were little growing up? Absolutely not. But yeah. I know, and I wish too. But even my youngest, when he was in junior kindergarten, they would start every day with the lights low and with a morning yoga session and reflection. And they would talk about their zones of, zones of energy, or I can't remember what exactly they called it. Okay. Red, yellow, or green. Yeah. And that's how they started to identify. But even in junior kindergarten, at 4 years old. And so that was incredibly impactful.
And so by the time your teenager's a 17-year-old, when somebody asks him how you feeling, or can you care for someone's feelings, he's probably not going to roll his eyes. Right. Because it's normal. I've been used to this. I'm trained. It's not, I'm not ignorant. I'm unknown. Here's a second thing that you think of is one of the greatest tools, like I'd say top 10, especially, oh my gosh, all ages really, especially teenagers, is this awesome little very easy to remember rhyme. It goes like this: connection before correction. And there's a time and a place for everything. And what so many of us do is we just start correcting, or we avoid our kids because we're afraid of them. And what I've found is that when you say these little things like, hey, I'd love to have a heart talk, or hey, can we, check in, or can we have a heart to heart? It invites them to be like, oh, this isn't like a regular talk. This is like a talk. And by doing that, you're actually teaching them about boundaries without even using the word boundary, right? And I use this with my 5-year-old, even when she was 3. I still do it. I still catch myself saying all the time, hey, can I talk to you about something? And guess what? That's what she says to me. Like, I can tell you confidently that my 5-year-old's not going to come into this room during this podcast, not because she's afraid of getting punished, but because I've taught her about boundaries and trust, and she has self-control. So yes. So like even last night, we're at Mother's Day dinner, having a nice Mexican meal near our home. We live in El Dorado Hills, California, which is kind of outside of Sacramento on the way to Lake Tahoe. And yeah, there was some challenging things that happened at the dinner table at Mother's Day with my girls, right? They said some things that pushed my buttons. Now, I absolutely did not do any correction at the dinner table because that's not the right time or the place. They're hormonal girls. They're free to be imperfect around me. But if something were to be done, and when it is done, or I feel like I need to address this, well, then absolutely I address it. But I do it under the banner of connection before correction. And it's a very powerful parenting tool with all age kids. Build that connection, that eye contact. And then what you say really matters. What do you think about that?
So important. And even that self-control in you in that moment, to not do that at the dinner table, that takes self-control and discipline as well. And I think saving it for those quieter moments just between the two of you is also so much more respectful than doing it at a big dinner.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It honors their boundaries. It protects the nice Mother's Day meal. And going back to how I apply my own coaching in my life, I felt my buttons were pushed. What did I feel last night? Let me think for a second. Let me look at the list here of the words. I felt worried over some of the things I heard from one daughter. I felt sad over the way this one girl was talking about some other things. And, those right there, right? That's enough, right? And no, I'm a big boy. I handled myself. I managed my own emotions. And I just don't feel like these are issues that I want to address with them because they're on their own journey, and I pick my battles very wisely in parenting my own children. Right?
That's powerful. Absolutely powerful right there. Sean, we could go on and on together for hours on end. I think I'm going to be joining your parents club.
Okay.
I absolutely love the message that you share. And I think you're just this powerful force.
Gosh, thank you so much.
It's very
Can I give you a compliment? Can I give you a
sure.
compliment in my third point? All right.
Sure. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. So you asked for tools. And then in the beginning of this podcast, and I didn't answer. So you asked again, and I didn't really answer. And now I'm finally trying to answer. Did you notice that? Here's definitely top 5.
Okay.
Top 5 things if you want to thrive in parenting. I do a lot of teaching about connection, but a key form of building close connections is to do what Erica has done. Erica, you've humanized yourself to your children and to me. You're vulnerable. You're hurting. You were hurting, and you still hurt. And you didn't. You appropriately didn't fully shield your kids because you couldn't from what you've been through.
Yeah.
So many of us parents, we struggle with showing our children vulnerability, and we end up being these parent robots. I am a parent. All I am is good for is nagging and reminding. I am your parent. All I do is yell and heat up hot pockets. I am a parent. All I do is tell you to not pick on your sister and don't steal my cell phone charger. And we dehumanize ourselves to our kids. Or what we do is we say, okay, I'm sharing my feelings with our kids, but it doesn't go well, which then we're signing up for this like weird, janky win-lose relationship with our own children, where they're caring for your feelings. No, you're caring for their feelings, but they're not caring for your feelings. What's up with that? Like, that doesn't sound fun or healthy. That's actually not a normal, healthy relationship, right? Parenting should feel like a win-win relationship. I have my own kids. They're imperfect. I'm imperfect, but we love each other and we work it out together. Win-win. And that's actually how every romantic business and every relationship in the whole world is actually built on win-wins. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, when I start sharing this with some of my clients, it's like some of them get like big eyes and it's like a wake-up call. Oh my gosh, you're right. I did this. My kids do not view me as a human. That's why they don't listen to me. That's why I have to say these things. And I did this to myself. And I said, well, good news, self-awareness. Now you're ready to start. And let me give you some new tools and to help you make parenting easier and more enjoyable.
Love that.
So I just met you. Did I cross the line in complimenting you with that? Did you like what I said?
Oh my gosh, no. I think you're incredible. Yeah, I think you also provide really actionable changes, really actionable insights that we can implement today. And that's what I love about it. And I think a lot of times with personal growth, right? We think that this can take, excuse me, so long. I don't know where my voice is.
Oh yeah. I'm fine.
We think like, oh yeah, I'm rooted in my own patterns, right? I'm rooted and I can't change.
Yeah.
Right. These are really actionable changes that we can all do starting today. Right? Just become more human around your kids. Be heart-centered. Have that heart talk. Share your feelings and show that you go through all of those ups and downs just like everybody does.
Yeah. Let me can I ask you a question? When you think about parenting your kids and just parenting, give me and all of us some advice. What are 1 or 2 tools or things that you think of when it comes to kind of thriving as a modern parent with 2 teen dudes?
Yeah. So for me, I think my perspective is just so different, right? In the sense that I shouldn't be here today. Okay. Right. And so my perspective always comes from the legacy that I want to leave for my children, the legacy of love and lessons. And so even in those heated moments, if I'm not here tomorrow, how would I change today? And what lessons would I leave with my kids today to really maximize this gift that we have together today and to leave that legacy, that imprint of all of those lessons and the love that I want to still within them.
Okay, how would you respond? And I can answer this too. So
Sure.
I'm going to throw a big number out. I'm going to say 50%. I think there's a chance that 50% of parents of teenagers are like hearing you right now and they're actually feeling pain. Like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be like Erica. I wish my children would let me coach them. Let me instill these things. My kids are closed off. They're screen addicted. They're selfish. They're this, they're that. I mean, did you know how common that is to be stonewalled in 2022 by your own freaking kids? Do you have any friends who are like, their kids are hardcore avoidant, stonewalling, they're mean, and they're just always on a phone? I mean, this thing I'm holding up right now, this phone, is the most powerful device in the history of mankind. It's more powerful than a gun. It's more powerful than a bomb. Why? Because this device has the ability to change your mind. And it's changed what it means to be a child. It changed what it means to be a teenager. It's the parenting struggle of our generation. This phone, and we are the first generation of parents who have kids who want these things, have these things, and we are struggling in so many ways. We're doing a lot better now than we were 10 years ago. But man, Google screwed us. Xbox, PlayStation, they screwed us. They gave us these amazing devices without any type of parental limits or any type of training for us parents. And parents are floundering, and they're doing these stupid screen talks, and they're giving these pep talks, or they're just avoiding their kids because my daughter has anxiety. I need her to have a phone. My son is depressed. That's the only thing that makes him happy, when it's actually scientifically proven that these screens are actually causing anxiety and depression. And it's like, I know I've heard that, but I don't know what to do because I love this kid. I don't want them to hurt themselves. I don't want them to feel lonely. We just moved here. We had COVID. I don't know what to do. It's like, I want my kid to be happy. Oh my gosh. I'm like a freaking professional parent. And I feel just like confused sometimes.
So how do you set those boundaries?
Okay. Well, first thing I think of would be to humanize yourself to your kid and to use this amazing parenting tool. Big fan of this tool. I use it with my 5-year-old and my 17-year-old. It's super modern. It's super normal. And our parents probably didn't use it with us, but we actually use it as adults. It's called shared problem solving. Makes sense. Doesn't that make sense?
Makes sense.
Like if you were in a healthy relationship, like, my marriage is not perfect. We have ups and downs, but when we have problems, we've trained ourselves. We had a lot of work, and we don't blame each other, attack each other. But the vibe we kind of come off is like, how can we come together and solve this problem together? Yeah. And doesn't that make sense? You have adults in your home. Like a 13-year-old is a young adult. Yeah. An 11-year-old is a young adult. And so wouldn't it make sense, instead of doing like being passive permissive, instead of people pleasing, instead of just doing authoritarian parenting, you say, look, son, daughter, can we talk? Can we have a heart to heart? We got a problem here. What do you mean? Well, I asked you, your job is to clean the cat box. And like, I go up there and the cat box is totally nasty. So we got a problem here. Can we work? Let's solve this together. Cat box. I just made that up. That's just a crime. How many people are like, oh my gosh, Sean, do you live in my house? I have major problems with the cat box. I was a weird high school student. I grew up in like surfing in San Diego. Yeah, my friends and I, we have lots of tattoos. We did crazy stuff. We did illegal stuff. We were partiers. We were good kids, though. We were nice, respectful. And we grew up on this TV show, Jackass, which they just came out with the latest Jackass. And so we were wild. We were wild. And, we were connected. We have matching tattoos together. Okay. Oh, my gosh. I just zoned out. Where was I going? What was I saying? I'm so embarrassed. What did I just say? What was right before this? Oh my gosh, this never happens. What was I saying?
I've even blocked it. I was so going into your story.
Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing on podcasts.
We're talking about how we come together to solve the problem.
Oh, okay. And there's no way our parents would ever come up to us and be like, "Hey, I'd love to work on this together with you, Sean. I'm feeling kind of emotional about it and love you, but you're a strong man. Can we work together?" I would have been like, like, what do you mean? How do you do that? Right? Because no one ever. But then I would have been like, oh, that's cool. You want to work together? Because if you aren't going to work with me, I'm just going to use my power and do crazy stuff to overpower you.
Absolutely.
Because I'm a powerful dude and my friends were powerful and we were great at sneaking and hiding and doing our own things. It's just so honoring to do shared problem solving.
Love that.
And if you can teach your 5-year-old to do shared problem solving, what is she going to be like, when she's 25? You can teach your 7-year-old about boundaries. How do you think she's going to do when she's in 8th grade and she's got all these like douchey middle school boys trying to like touch her and like middle school dances and like touch her butt and like do all this perv stuff to her, right?
Yeah. I read too back in the day that the best time to have those hard conversations with your kids were in places like, a car ride when you don't have that direct eye contact because it takes off the intensity. For me, I find skiing with kids to be fabulous for those, because you're on the chairlift, let's say. You're going up the chairlift, there's so much to look around.
What's your favorite skiing mountain? Where do you like to go?
Well, I can never deny Whistler for sure.
Oh, yeah, because you're in Vancouver. Yeah, one of my best friends just moved to California to Vancouver. That's one of the most beautiful cities in the whole world. People may not know
we're
that.
so lucky. We are so lucky to live here and just to have all those local mountains right here too. But Whistler is definitely great. But when you're riding up that chairlift, right, they're so distracted. There's so much to scenery, beautifulness to look at, people skiing, and then you can really strike up some of those conversations. Without that intensity. But you've really helped me because my kids are always like, Mom, you talk a lot. And I think I've talked too long beyond my 10-second maximum.
Yeah. So here's a little hack right now. Here's a little hack. Okay, I'm gonna be you, and you're gonna be one of your sons. You ready?
Okay. I'll be my older.
So son,
I'm gonna be him right now.
Okay,
on my phone.
Okay, give me a problem that occurs sometimes, like with his
he's
behavior.
Gonna be staring like this on his phone all the time.
So son, I'm about to get deep then, okay?
Okay, go. Yep.
Okay. So son, I'd love to chat with you about what we're gonna do this weekend.
Okay.
Okay. So can we talk? Can we connect?
Yeah.
Okay. I would feel more comfortable if you would like put the phone down.
I'm just texting my friend.
Okay. I can wait, but I'd rather not.
I'm done.
Okay. Now, so can we have 5 minutes?
Just one more text.
Cool. Can I have 5 minutes of your attention?
Just one more text, Mom. Yeah, or Dad. Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
This is the cycle. Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So I want to talk to you about 2 things.
Okay.
I think I'm kind of feeling a little disconnected.
How come?
Because thanks for asking. Yeah, like when I try to get your attention sometimes, you kind of do what you just did there. It kind of hurts my feelings.
Oh.
So what do you hear me saying?
I hear that I have an impact on how you're feeling, and that might change my approach.
Hey, like I love your phone, son, and I want you to be able to talk on your phone, but I don't know, I feel I'm gonna get deep right now. You would not only do this with older kids. This is deep. Do not recommend this. If you're just starting with hard talk, you don't want to use this word. Yeah, I think I feel a little lonely sometimes.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Just stay in character. I do a lot of role playing throughout the day. I think it's the most effective way to coach people when it comes to parenting. It's like, what do you hear me saying?
Yeah, that's powerful. You need more of my attention.
Oh, that's what he would say? He would say that's powerful?
No, sorry, that was
no. Come on, I was like, come on.
What would my kid say?
No dude's gonna be talking like that.
No, I've got a pretty empathetic son. As soon as he would be made aware of something, he would really own it.
So, own it then. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Sorry. What would he say exactly? He would come and give me a hug and say, "Mommy, I didn't know. I'm sorry."
I don't want to hug.
See what you're saying.
I don't need a hug. I don't want to hug. So what do you? But I just want to be heard right now.
Yeah.
I love that you're on your phone. You make a lot of good choices on your phone. I just want you to know how I feel sometimes. I know you don't make me feel this way. You can't make anybody feel anything. I just feel kind of lonely sometimes. Like I'm in the room with you and like trying to talk with you. I just kind of feel alone.
I'm sorry, Mama.
Well, thank you. No, you don't need to apologize. But, I don't know. What do you think we should do about this?
So how can I change that?
I don't know. Let's figure out a way that works for both of us.
Okay.
I just feel like it happens a lot where I'll be like, son, and you're like, wait, son. And it's just not cool. It doesn't feel good. I feel kind of disconnected.
So is that when you take the advantage and set boundaries, or how do you then boundaries that work for you?
Well, yeah, if you have like a more resistant or defiant situation, which you don't have, then we could break those tools out. But I have found that with successful heart talks, with successful communication, you do not need to use punishments with your children. I did a TikTok video today, which is blowing up. Lots of people like it. And like a lot of my videos, lots of people hate it. And it's about how you can parent away without punishments. And this is an example of how to do it. So you could say, well, so son, do you think I should put like time limits on your phone? Should I take it away? Want to do that?
No, Mommy.
No, I don't want to do that either. That's childish.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we going to do about this? Because like, I don't want this phone to get in the middle of like, you and I, or like your responsibilities.
I don't know what he would say to that, to be honest, because I think for him, just thinking of his natural tendencies and habits, he hears a beep and he responds. He feels like he's missing out if he doesn't respond right away. And so,
right, but that's a problem, and if it's going to create problems in his future girlfriend or partner
100%.
or whatever, so that's a problem. And notifications on your phone is one of the most toxic, horrible things any human being can do to their brain, is allow notifications on your phone. So as we wrap up this little role playing, because this could go on and on. Here's a little tool. So, it would mean a lot to me if you were to say, Mom, how can I help you feel better? Would you mind saying that to me?
How can I help you feel better, Mom?
Thank you for asking. I think one thing that would mean a lot to me, if you just look me in the eye and say, Mom, I'm really going to try harder to like really be present with you the first time you try to get my attention. That would mean a lot to me. And you give me your word as a man, because he's 13. You want to teach 11-year-olds to talk like that. Give me your word as a woman. Give me your word as a man. That would mean a lot to me. Would you mind doing that?
I can do that for you, Mama. Yeah.
Okay, go for it. Do it.
I'm going to work hard to give you my attention on the first time you ask her.
That's not what I asked you to say, son. I asked you to use the word trust. Say, Mom, you can trust me.
I see.
That I'm going to really work harder at being present with you when you want my attention. That would mean a lot to me. I want to have a trusting relationship with you. So you can see how this can work, because it won't work in a day. But the more you use trust in your home, that's a great tool.
That's powerful.
You're really connecting with his heart here. Or you could do this. Get off your phone. Give me your phone. You're addicted. Why are you always on your phone? Gosh, you got problems. Why are you on your phone? Gosh, you have serious. What is going on? You're on your phone again? I can't even talk to you. How about that? Or you could do that. Which one do you think is more effective?
Option A.
Right? It's no brainer. Right? It's a no-brainer. So this is just a little sample of really how to engage your heart with your kids' hearts, and how it's totally normal here. I'm not like making this up. This is all normal, healthy communication. I'm just inviting people to do with your kids.
And is it okay to instill like the natural, and to talk about the natural consequence that would come if those habits aren't changed?
So let's say after a week or two, say, son, you gave me your word. I know, Mom, it's just so hard. All right, well, I'm not comfortable with how this is going on. So, I mean, if you make this choice again, then I'm going to have to step in, because it just doesn't feel right. It
even
doesn't
not
feel
so much
right.
that, but
Right.
tell them the natural consequences if that behavior does continue, outside of even the parenting relationship, but with their friends and in adulthood. The natural consequences of that behavior will be that not only I feel disconnected, but you're going to feel disconnected
Right.
from your outer world,
Yeah.
And
And
so
that's
just like,
kind of what we do as society. The police don't just like pull us over and be like, hey, I just invented this law and I'm emotional and now you're in trouble. No, it's very like predictable. So I'm not a big fan of consequences, even though about 40% of the clients we work with, Erica, are actually extremely defiant, out of control, like boarding school material. And I can show parents how to create an in-home healing process to get their child to do a 180. But see, what you do here is like, I don't want to use consequences. I don't want to take your phone away. I mean, if I will, if this doesn't improve, but let's work together. And then if you take it away, because it's a natural consequence, because they have like a D in class, and that's a natural consequence. You're not entitled to this phone. This is a privilege. And your job as a young person is to earn C's and above and to thrive with honor, respect, hard talks, your chores. And you're not entitled to this. And I'm not planning on taking away or limiting it, but I need you to really do your part. Win-win. Then if you do have to take it away or give them a screen fast or a trust screen fast, which is way better than a screen fast or taking someone's phone away for a day or two, which doesn't work, then they know they did this on myself. My parent was really patient with me. They worked with me and they love that stuff. It builds connection and trust.
No, that's really important. I think I'm like identifying some of the things I've done wrong too as a parent, right? And even with this game of Fortnite that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I saw my youngest when he was playing it, his behavior would literally change. And I talked to him about it. He was just like this different little character.
Yeah,
Even
totally.
he was communicating with his friends, and I felt that would linger after. And I said, look,
Right.
like, I want you to be aware of this. And
Yeah.
we talked about it for quite a while, but then the changes weren't being implemented.
Right.
But look, at the end of the day, like maybe you're just too young to be able to process all of this. So let's just on pause for a while. But I did use that consequence. Like he does not play Fortnite at my home anymore.
Yeah, he had a natural consequence. You gave him the chance to show emotional maturity. And just like most 4-year-olds, they don't have the maturity to balance their own palate, their food palate. They don't know about germs, minerals, healthy meats, organics. They don't know about, high fructose. They need our help balancing their food palate, right? Otherwise, they eat a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
In my 23 years of working with your sons and daughters, I would say about 70%, maybe more of like 8th graders and under do not have the maturity to balance their own screen palette. They need a parent's help. And that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I love how you phrased it too, like a food palette, but a screen palette. That's really helpful.
Because they're so powerful, and food is so powerful.
Yeah, and just like food, there's healthy tech and unhealthy tech. Yeah,
and that's how we should view tech. Tech is like Sour Patch Kids, which I'm realizing I had some last night on a Sunday night, which is my favorite candy, and it's like ice cream. It's very powerful. It can be very addictive. It affects our brain and a whole bunch of stuff. And we need to be very wise and careful how we handle screens. And as parents, we need to teach about it using the T word, trust. Parenting is not about what it's about, almost never. In almost all situations with screens, you have to realize it's not about the screen. It's not about Fortnite. Dr. Erica, what is it really about?
What's going on underneath their feelings?
Can you trust your son
to
play that game, Fortnite, which I play with my 12-year-old, and to get off on time and come to the table and to regulate his own emotions, which he is capable of doing, even if he's neurodivergent, to handle himself well when the time is up. And he might need some help nurturing that trust and that self-control. And if your kids are neurodivergent, well, then it means they need more help and EQ support from the parents. They need less discipline and pep talks. Absolutely. They don't need you to lower the bar on them, which is what most professionals actually tell people to do with neurodivergent kids, is lower the bar. No, I say raise the bar.
Yeah.
And then be patient with them, hold their hand, and you'll watch them reach the bar. It might take time, but hey, welcome to the club. This is what parenting is.
We all get to be here today as parents, and we have this role and responsibility, right? To really do the best we can because of that power that you were talking about earlier that we hold. So parents, I hope you've been really inspired and empowered, really empowered by today's show and all of the tips and tools and just awareness that Sean has shared with us today. So share your feelings, bottom message. Share your feelings with your children. Build that trust, that connection piece. Honor them, respect them with the choices that they're making. Sean, thank you for being here with us today. Can you please share with my audience how they can find you?
So you can find me on social media, TikTok, The Family Coach, the.family.coach, or on Instagram or on Facebook, or you go to my website, Parenting Modern Teens. Lots of goodies, lots of opportunities for people to get involved, from free things to paid things. And thank you so much. We had a great conversation. We worked hard to make this happen, Erica. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I know it was in the works for a while. I'm really, really appreciative, Sean. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Risers and Thrivers. Happy Monday. Make it a great week. Back with you next time. Until then, all the best. Bye.